In today's video, we're going to be talking about how I would build a 100 million rand property portfolio from scratch, even after losing it all. Welcome back to InvestRand, where we take the guesswork out of property investing. As I always say, this is a channel for successful property investors and future successful property investors. If I had to start from scratch, zero capital, zero deals, no partners, and I had to build a 100 million rand property portfolio from scratch, here's exactly what I would do. Because I've done it before and I've lost it every single cent. This isn't theory, this is exactly what works and is coming from experience. If you're somebody who's serious about investing in property, this video will save you years and millions of rands. I once built a multi-million rand student accommodation portfolio. The dream was simple, building over 500 beds and also building generational wealth for myself. And hey, here's what happened. It all collapsed. Why? Not only bad partners, there was bad strategy, and most importantly, my own ego. I lost everything, over 100 million rand projected value. But that was the tuition I had to pay to end up building a platform that I wish I had called InvestRand, where today we help working professionals to be able to build their properties as a business and avoid mistakes such as this one that will cost them millions of rands. How would I rebuild from scratch? Step number one, know your investor type. Most people jump into deals without understanding what the type of investor they are. Are you somebody who's a leverage investor? What does that mean? That means that are you somebody who can have access to a bond, but you have limited cash? If you fell into this category, the biggest lever you can pull is to use bank finance. The second type of investor you could be is perhaps a growth investor, somebody with at least R1 million to R2 million in cash right now to invest. If you're that type of investor, the best leverage you can have is actually looking at joint ventures and flipping projects, or perhaps small developments that you can be able to do. Or perhaps are you somebody who is a legacy builder? What do I consider as a legacy builder? Somebody who can have 10 million rand in cash or have serious partners or equity partners who can be able to help you with that cash. And if you fell into that category, then you need to be playing the long game where you're building bigger projects that will give you bigger impact and most importantly, build a legacy. So the wrong strategy at the wrong time will not only cost you time, but it can cost you everything you have and also your momentum. And that's why we ended up building the investor type quiz, the 60 seconds quiz that you can be able to take right now and know what type of investor you are and what strategy you should actually be applying at that stage of your investing. The second thing I would do if I had to rebuild from scratch is to know my financial freedom number. When I was 24, still in university, I was managing over 105 beds of student accommodation. I built like a small property portfolio. But one thing I knew is that that was not going to help me achieve my goal, which was actually to avoid the whole idea of 9 to 5 entirely. And that's when I learned the importance of understanding my financial freedom number, which is just exactly how much money do I need from my property portfolio in order for me to replace my salary so I don't have to get a job at all. And of course, this was simple. As an engineering student, I knew that a graduate engineer was earning around 20,000 rand a month, and that became a benchmark of exactly what I was looking to have at the end of the day. And I used that to reverse engineer to say, okay, how many deals do I need to get to this point? At what return should I be getting from these properties? And of course, what is the timeline? Actually, I don't have any realistic timeline because I was actually on my third year in university. So I had a very, very clear goal to say, hey, I need to at least find an opportunity that could be able to help me achieve this goal. And that's what led me to go big. I saw this opportunity of building over 500 beds of student accommodation, a project that was around 150 million rand, and I'm like, this is the one. And I thought I was building generational wealth, but I didn't do the groundwork that I'm sharing here today. Okay, and that's why we created the financial freedom number calculator. This calculator just helps you work backwards from what number you need in terms of passive income from your property investing, and of course, how many properties you need, what returns you need, and at what time frame. And this is a free calculator that you can actually take 60 seconds to do and you can get the results instantly. Make sure that you give it a shot. This is a tool that I wish I had when I was starting out in my property investment journey. The first step that I would take to rebuild my portfolio from scratch is to buy vetted cash flowing properties, because it's not only going to save me time, but it will save me a lot of money. For example, investment was not born out of ambition alone. It was actually born out of pure frustration. It took me around 18 months to find land for my project that I was doing in student accommodation. 18 months. And after that, my first block of flats, it took me around 9 months, hundreds of hours. And by the way, I was doing this full time. So I just want you to imagine for a second, if I was employed, maybe I had a family, and perhaps I was also having my own studies at the same time, like many working professionals are. The truth is that it was going to take me years, and not only years, or maybe I would have just given up. So this made me realize that, look, this is not just about access to properties. It's an access to a platform that I need, and access to a team, and access to a network. And that's exactly why we ended up building InvestRand. So today, InvestRand helps investors such as yourself to actually find properties that are pre-vetted. You're not only finding that, you're finding the funding support of funding those properties. And most importantly, you want to find a trusted network of service providers, including QS, architects, all type of building environment professionals that can help you on your property journey. Because the truth is, your time is more valuable than scrolling property sites all day. This isn't about just buying property. It's also about building a business around your property portfolio. What would I do differently if I had to do it all over again? To be honest, the first thing is I would not rush into partnership. I would vet my partners the same way I'm vetting my property deals. And most importantly, I wouldn't just rush into deals just so I could feel like I'm moving. I'll make sure that I'm vetting my deals, but I also want to vet my partners the same way that I'm vetting deals, because with the wrong partners, there's a high chance that you're going to buy the wrong property at the wrong time, and that's going to lead to a disaster. The second thing I will do is focus on income instead of status. Look, a 500,000 rand property that is giving me a net income of around 2,000 rand a month, which is around 24,000 rand a year, is way better than me buying a 2 million rand property that is giving me a negative yield. So that's something that I would just focus on, building some cash flow instead of focusing on status. The other one thing that is very, very important is you to get an early momentum. I'd focus on just getting the smaller deals, one deal at a time. It does not have to start with a big property that's going to retire me immediately. Even if it's just like one property, one solid rental, one solid paycheck that's coming in my bank account, that is exactly where I would start. This is one thing that I lost focus on when I was building my portfolio. I just went from building like a small portfolio to doing something very big instead of just gradually building it over time. The last thing I'll do is learn how to use other people's money wisely. If you're somebody who is interested in property investing, or perhaps you read any book about property investing, one of the most famous terms is called OPM, or other people's money. Most of the time, people go into OPM because of hype and also because of their own ego, but they're not thinking about it strategically. And what I'll do differently is that I'll actually spend time learning how to structure OPM, make sure that it makes other people's returns secure, and make sure that you can also be able to use it to grow your portfolio instead of just chasing cash. So these are the things that I would do if I had to do it all over again. And these are the things you can apply today, whether you're starting from zero or you're starting at 10 million rand. If you're watching this thing right now and you're thinking, I've waited too long, or perhaps you're thinking, it's too late for me to start. Look, the reality is that it's never too late. The only thing that you need right now are two things. The first thing that you need is clarity. You need to understand your investor DNA. What type of investor are you? And most importantly, you need to know how much money do you need from your property for you to be free. And the second thing is support. You need a team that can help you take care of all these hard things on your behalf. And that's why we build InvestRand. So the best place to start is start by using these two tools that I just gave you today. The first tool is your investor type quiz, which will help you understand what type of investor you are. And you can find that in the link description below. The second tool that you can use as well is the financial freedom number calculator. This calculator will help you know exactly the amount that you need to get from your property in order for you to be financially free. Both are free. You can find them in the description below. And if you're ready to take action, not just learn, you can book a free strategic call with us so we can help you build your property portfolio the right way. Look, this will not only save you time, it will save you money, and most importantly, it will help you avoid the same mistakes that cost me millions of rands. Looking forward to working with you.